Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Jacob Gainsborough, soon to be student at Clarendon Sixth Form College, and today I'll be interviewing Daniel from the Cooperative College. The Cooperative College runs groups for young people aged 12 to 20, which I attended a series of to teach them about social action, how a cooperative organisation functions, and to eventually get them to plan and do their own social action. Daniel is one of the people within the college who runs these groups and facilitates these new opportunities for attendees. How are you today, Daniel?
I'm good, thank you, Jacob. It's great to be here. Happy to do an interview with you. Looking forward to it.
Good to hear. I have one main overarching question for you. How has the Cooperative College adapted their youth work to operate within social distancing limitations due to the coronavirus pandemic?
So it's a great question. And I thought I'd just start by just quickly saying a little bit about the college, just for your listeners. So the Cooperative College is not a college in the strictest sense. We are a small kind of cooperative charity, mainly known for our international work and providing cooperatives and like-minded organisations with training. We like to think of ourselves as a college without walls, dedicated to providing outreach and higher education. The college has decided to focus on youth work for the past couple of years, and that's why my manager and I were employed in order to take that further. So we were doing kind of direct youth work sessions, like you've mentioned, the Youth Cooperative Action Project that you were a part of last year. We also run the Cooperative Adventure Project, which is a project specifically for people with autism and special educational needs. And they were great, and they were working really, really well, kind of face to face. There was lots of trips, there was lots of visits, there was lots of interactive sessions. And so coronavirus obviously changed all that. And it was really unfortunate because a lot of the people that were benefiting from accessing our sessions, we had to cancel. So luckily we managed to get the turnaround quite quickly, and we started running our online youth sessions as a way to keep in touch with all our young people that were involved with the project. And so we started those on the 28th of April, and we've been running a weekly youth session online. So we kind of stuck to the kind of social action focus of the Youth Cooperative Action Project, but we've also blended different elements of discussion, debate, mental health, how to communicate, learning about cooperatives. And so we've really tried to make the sessions diverse and as varied as we could.
Can you give some examples of guest speakers involved in the project and what they brought to the sessions they were a part of?
So we've had everything from Grow, who came and did a horticultural therapy session with us, where we were learning how to, repurpose food waste and grow new peppers, cucumbers, and different fruit and veg, and why that was so beneficial. And then right through to sessions on mental health and technology with Omar Latif, talking about online security and how to protect ourselves online. And then doing motivational sessions with people like Lewis Howell, who did a couple of great webinar sessions with us, talking about perspective, how we motivate ourselves during this difficult time, and then how we can do social action positively and safely in the current situation. But we're doing quite a lot in terms of listening to our young people, trying to provide things that they want. And a big part of our projects is to have them young person centered, which means that we like our young people to tell us what they want, what they need, what's important to them. And then we try and create our sessions around that, where the young people themselves will have basically complete control of that session and tell us what they want to do.
It's impressive how you've still been able to provide opportunities for young people to interact with the college and its collaborators. What are the main pros and cons of having to do this online?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's been a big learning curve for me personally. I'm not the most tech savvy of people. I refer to myself as a technological caveman. So there was lots of learning how to do Zoom, how to use webcams, how to coordinate various people on different platforms at the same time. So that was tricky in itself, but been more of a pro than a con, because I've learned new skills and it's enabled me to do this work online more effectively. One of the biggest pros has been that we've been able to continue kind of exposing young people to new experiences. So I'm really happy about that. So especially like yesterday's session we ran on the Cooperative Heritage Trust, our guest speaker was Kate Woodward, and she talked about the Rochdale Pioneers and how the UK cooperative movement was kind of launched, and we did like a horrible history session on that. It was fantastic. So that's great, but there are cons. There are some major cons. So one of the biggest ones is that the Special Educational Needs Project, Cooperative Adventure, that I mentioned before, we haven't been able to run online because we haven't been able to meet the needs of the young people who would have struggled to access the content that we wanted to deliver.
I can see that being an issue.
Oh, it's really upsetting, to be honest, because I've really racked my brains about how we can involve those young people and keep in touch with them and give them an opportunity to keep in contact with each other. But it's very challenging. We're trying to figure out ways that we can get those young people involved. But unfortunately, some of it is just completely unavoidable, and we're going to have to wait until lockdown is eased.
That must be frustrating. I hope you find a way forward with that. I feel that the organisation's always been able to adapt with the times and make themselves stay relevant to whatever issues are going on, like how recently a lot of people, including the organisation, have been talking about the whole Black Lives Matter protests. Do you think that the whole outrage and the protests about the murder of George Floyd, do you think that's made young people want to take part in social action more than they did before?
Yeah, I think some young people definitely will have had that effect on, because I think they are seeing now what that kind of campaigning, activism, protest, what it actually looks like. I mean, as you'll remember, one of the big parts of the Youth Cooperative Action Project was about the different ways that you can do social action. So protest is obviously one of the most well-known, and it's one of the best ways to show your solidarity. But there's other ways to do it. And I think people are starting to recognize now that they can engage in these other ways, such as, raising awareness on an online platform, doing petitions, creating videos to raise awareness and share those. There's lots of things that people can do. And I think the Black Lives Matter movement has really sparked a lot of that kind of curiosity, challenging things that we're not happy with. There's large elements of society, especially British society, that they need to improve. Whether that's LGBTQ plus issues, whether that's race issues, gender issues, and I think a lot of young people really want to do something. They don't just want to read about it. They don't just want to talk about it. They want to actively do something, which is brilliant, and they're going to do what we can to help them do that. I think the incident has had a profound effect on society at the moment, I feel, because of the virus. People are at home, they've got more time, they're not as tied up in work and certain, commuting and traveling. So I think it's the kind of outcry and the real tragedy and the horror of the murder of George Floyd has really sparked a movement that we've not really seen before. And so that's exciting for me. Especially as a mixed race man, it's really nice to see the conversations that are happening. And I can only praise the college. It's very rare that you get to work for an employee that's so morally kind of strong in their standpoints. And so, the solidarity I've received and the support I've received and the statement we put out, the resources that we've shared and the pledges that we're going to make, been fantastic. It's been brilliant. And, it's influenced our work. The online youth sessions, we had a social action session last week, and it turned into a session to do with the Black Lives Matter movement, racism, social action, activism, because it's what the young people wanted to discuss. It's what they were passionate about. It's what was happening currently. And so we just responded to that and we were able to do it.
Something that I've always picked up on with the organisation, you've always been very ethical and morally sound. You've always done what's right. You've stuck to those values.
Yeah, and it's not easy to do. And I think what the kind of work that maybe you haven't seen behind the scenes. I mean, I know you've been a part of our youth steering group as well that we put together to better get advice and guidance from our young participants. But there's a lot of meetings that happen that are very open, they're very honest, and they're really important. So just as a quick example, in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, we arranged meetings to discuss that as a staff team. It's no secret, the vast majority of the cooperative college's staff are white. I myself am mixed race. We have another mixed race member of staff, but that's about it. And so we have more to do in terms of diversity ourselves, as well as the work we do. And everyone is very, very honest about that. And we know that there's work to be done. And it's just nice to be able to have those conversations and really maintain our integrity in that respect. There's nothing that I know that I'm aware of that the college has done or that they're involved in that I don't approve of. And it's quite refreshing as an employee to be able to say that about the people that you work for or work with.
Yeah, that sounds good. I hope I can work for an organisation with good values too. That's all we've got time for today. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Brilliant. No, fantastic. I've enjoyed our discussion as well.
Thank you for joining me in today's podcast.
Welcome.